Welcome to What the Fuck Do You Do? Welcome to another special episode. I'm your co-host, Shrey Bay Bay. We got T Foxy Trav, Justin Jawong Dong, and today we got not one, but two special guests. Cara Evan, recently married, New York's hottest couple. How you guys feeling?
Oh, that's a new title.
Yeah.
Excited.
I feel honored to be here.
Yeah, you should be. You should be.
First duo in the house.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, how are we all doing? How's everyone been? How's the weekend been going so far?
I'm really hating this New York rain, but that's about it.
Yeah, 7th rainy weekend in a row.
Yeah.
Pretty bummed by
Not great.
But
Okay, now that we got over the weather talk, I really want to get into what you did last night, Travis.
Yeah, can we really talk about it?
James went to a rave. Yeah,
How was that?
Tell us more.
saw Cascade, and
love-
Did it feel amazing with the rain?
it felt pretty nice. There were lots of colors and sounds. And I was just like, ooh, this is lovely.
Yeah.
And then there was an opener named Lipless who played pretty terrible music for like 3 hours. Dude, the worst part about those shows is it's like, we were like, oh, if we get there at 10:30, is it going to be too late? And it's doors open till 3 a.m.
So you're very early.
Yeah, we were way too early. We were like the first people there.
Well, also,
at
isn't
11.
it like you have the headliner, but you don't know what you're gonna get otherwise?
Yeah, you have no idea who else is
That's a little
there.
tough.
The headliner came on at 1:15.
Oh my
God.
god.
Our goal was just to see the headliner, and then we left after like
I think
30 minutes.
We're arguably too old for that.
I think we were, and there were also just a lot of, I forget how fucked up people get at this stuff. Those like, and we sat down to like have a break outside, and they're like 8 girls that are just staggering over with like their friend just like feeding them lollipops and ice cubes, and it's like this one girl's like, hey, can you watch my friend for like 5 to 10 minutes? And we're like, I don't want this responsibility right now.
That's like a spectrum meeting. I'll be back in like 45 to an hour and a half.
I was like, I did not want this power or responsibility.
And how do you made it out alive? All those people getting kidnapped.
Oh, what?
Yeah. there's
You've
like-
not heard of
there's
this?
What?
Like people leaving Brooklyn Mirage and getting murdered.
No
What?
way.
Like 6 foot
young-
tall men.
Like young men.
Seriously?
Literally,
Yes.
you fit the mold.
You are a target.
Fuck.
You were the target.
If you're in the 666 club,
Yeah,
you're done.
I mean, obviously, yeah. But no, I mean, it doesn't make sense. But like that area is so sketchy.
So
to walk.
sketchy.
Just like where you to get there, there's from the train station. It's like just trucks and puddles and warehouses and like
Oh,
dark
God.
alleys. It's actually not good. But I hear somebody else had an eventful night.
Yeah,
Shrey.
dude. So
Tell us.
I did open mic. It was like the second time I've ever done it. It's first time in New York, and I wanted to do it because it was like it's like a kind of a challenge, something uncomfortable. But I also kind of enjoy like doing stuff like that. And this might have been like one of the most depressing things that I've ever seen in my life.
No.
It's like, so the first open mic I did was in Austin, and like we actually brought like friends and people, so it kind of was like a little like show.
Sure.
So it was like people were having a good time. The audience at an open mic is basically the other comics that are doing the open mic, and every comic just seems like they're barely hanging on life, like so depressed, and it kind of like reflects in like when they get up on stage, like they're just saying like really dark shit,
Oh no.
like depressing stuff, and like even the host, he just like, you know, I feel like the host is like supposed to be like, and next up we got Travis, like whatever. He's like, next up is John.
Where was this open mic?
It's in the West Village. I don't want to say the place because it's probably a nice establishment on its own.
They
But
normally sell tickets.
Yes, they
First
normally
time.
sell tickets.
Oh my god.
But it's
That's so dark.
it's so crazy. I was just like, I actually feel really good about my life. I mean, I was before, but it was like, damn, this
It was
is.
a pick me
Really
up
puts it
you
into
didn't know you
perspective.
needed.
Yeah, I was like, why does this profession where you're telling jokes attract such dark, depressing figures?
It is really the trend.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Yeah.
they just need something to laugh about.
Yeah, I did meet this one guy. He's from Long Island. His name was John, and he was actually like really nice guy. And you could tell like when he was on stage, he was just like talking about life, and he just had that little pep in his step.
Yeah.
But it just like that type of humor was not like going over with the rest
They
of them.
wanted darker and darker.
They just
and
wanted
darker.
dark shock value. Just
How's
well,
your
the whole
set?
audience.
if you ask if you asked 2 people, they thought it was funny. If you asked the rest, they didn't think it was funny.
Okay.
So, did you change up what you were gonna go on with after hearing all this? Did you
No, I don't know how to change it up, and I like.
It's like I only have 2 jokes.
I actually like my life pretty well. I don't have that many dark things to share.
Sometimes I go out and kill a drifter just to feel something.
That would have won over well.
Yeah, best line of the night.
That would've been mild.
Babe, we're doing open mic tonight.
Okay.
Also, I learned I was kind of towards the end, and so like as comics perform, they kind of like leave, and then if you're at the end, like people are just tired.
Yeah.
Like they're like, all right, I've heard the 8th person talk about like really dark stuff,
Yeah.
and now like we're gonna hear this guy come with some energy. Go fuck yourself. yeah, you can't do that.
How long is like each set?
It's 5 minutes.
Okay.
There was a guy, 2 guys before me. He cried.
No.
What?
Yeah, it was brutal.
New comedy, guys.
He
Wow.
came up with
Tough.
this book of jokes. He started trying to do it from reading from his book of jokes. Then he was like, "I'm gonna put this down," and he started like trying to go off the cuff. And he's like, "No, I'm gonna open up this book again."
No.
And then he was like, "Guys, I'm sorry, these just aren't funny." And then he's like, "How much time do I have left?" And the guy's like, "You have like 3 minutes." And he was like,
It's been 30 seconds.
"Maybe I'll just like sing for you guys."
No.
And then he
Well,
kind
this
of.
open mic.
This is not real.
This is real. And then he like kind of sings for like 30 seconds, and then he's like, "Guys, I'm sorry. Like, I don't know. I think I might cry." And then he like asked the host, he's like, "Is it bad if I cry?" And the guy was like, "I mean, it'd be like really gay if you started crying right now."
No.
And then this guy started tearing up and just walked off.
Dude, what psychotic fever dream place did you go to?
I was like, this is in Greenwich Village next to like every single
Yeah.
like comedy place you could possibly think of. And I was like, okay, this is probably gonna be like pretty fun. And I was like, I gotta get out of here.
Wow.
Did his time finish up, and then he's like, and this is 30, and he bows, and he's like, that was my act.
Anyways, enough of stand up. Let's get to the real topic.
14 minutes into the episode.
Yeah.
Trey's done telling us about his Friday night.
The question for the day: what the fuck do you do if you're planning a wedding? This is where you 2 come in.
Yeah.
Yeah, you let your future wife do all of it, and just make sure that everyone's gonna have a good experience. Yeah, that's it.
That's a wrap. Yeah.
That's it.
That makes
See you
sense.
later.
Yeah. Cool.
Well, maybe let's back up a little bit. We're not gonna just end it right there.
Evan can leave now. I'll just
Yeah.
take over
Yeah.
from here.
Why don't we start how you guys met? Let's get a little context here.
Okay.
You want to go, babe? You want me to go, babe?
Just like never had
in the
it.
car.
So in 2015, both of us moved to New York. First job is out of college, and we both worked at Yelp with Justin over here. And we met the first week. So at Yelp, you have these like starting classes that are like 80 people. So it's kind of like college 2.0. Like you instantly have like all these new friends. You're in training with them every day, and you're sitting in the same little area. And you're like going to happy hour like every single night. Like it's just honestly a party. And we met the first week, and they really went from there. Like it was like very fast, and all of a sudden we were dating.
Yeah, our dating app was Yelp
Yeah.
Nice.
via employment.
What's the review?
5 stars.
5 stars.
All right, there we go. There we go.
5-star wedding.
Well, okay, we were talking about in the previous episode about, or it was one of the previous episodes about dating someone at work. So that's always kind of a tricky thing.
Yelp, when we started, and Justin can attest to this, it was very like the directors were dating or engaged. It was very like, yeah, you know how tech companies are like, we'll give you lunch, we'll give you breakfast, we'll give you amenities. Like, just never leave the office. They're like, also find your significant other here and never leave.
Just try it out.
Get on the phones, never leave.
They honestly encouraged it. Like my manager would come up to me and be like, "Have you seen Evan's numbers today? Like, look at how he's doing." Like trying to like get me competitive. I'm like, that's not gonna work.
Yeah.
Like that's not where I'm at right now.
They would do the same thing for me. They'd be like, "Look how many deals Diane's closed." I'm like, "She speaks Chinese. Like, I don't know what you like, want me to
She's
do."
better.
here."
I don't know what to say.
Like, was there a spark? Was there like an actual attraction? Was it just like time spent with each other?
I think it was both. Like when I first moved here, I lived with somebody who started with us as well. And
Yeah.
Jen and Cara became fast friends. So like the first Friday that we like went out to a couple happy hour bars, and then I was like, I have to go home and take the dog out. If anybody wants to come over, like we have some wine and some beers, like everyone come hang. And like both, like spark and attraction for sure.
Yeah.
But
Were you
I think-
nervous,
I think,
Evan?
I think. Well, I've also lived on an air mattress for the first like
Yeah, that was
I don't
fun.
know 3 months. So like week 1, I'm like, wow, this is our apartment's really nice, but anywhere near the bedroom's a little tough. But yeah, no, it was. I think Marley definitely helped.
He definitely did. I mean, when you say like you show a picture of this like adorable dog, it's like, want to come see my dog? And also, we both lived in Harlem, but he lived in East Harlem, like Spanish Harlem, and I lived in West Harlem, and we were both just brand new to the city. That we thought that was like near each other. It like couldn't be further, honestly.
It was like a 45, 50-minute bus.
Yeah.
God.
Like the M102, 101 to like 103. Those buses.
No subway.
Basically door to door, but you're on there for like an hour.
That's brutal.
So, yeah.
What was your first date? Where did you go? What'd you do?
There's a spot that used to be called ABV on like 97th and Lexington. It's been like a few different things. I think it's called like Lexington Pub or Lexington something now. But yeah, we had chicken liver pate and a couple beers.
It was very random.
Super hot.
That's some really like bad breath combination.
Yes.
I mean,
But shared bad breath, so nobody has bad breath.
just work.
Cancels each other out.
Yeah.
I mean, it was also like we worked together. Like the relationship happened pretty fast. So like it wasn't like a first date that like really like made or break what was happening. Like we were already kind of invested at that point.
Yeah.
But like, let's actually like go get dinner maybe.
I mean, both of us, like, we all have single friends, and it's like, oh, dating's so rough. And I'm like, it's not that hard. And granted, I think our relationship is probably the exception, you know?
Yeah. Like going back to you saying like working together in relationships, like we had so many friends that would be like, so like, should I do this? Like, should I just explore people here at Yelp? And we're like, probably not. Like it honestly might be bad.
Yeah.
But
That's
it worked
really
out for
interesting,
us.
though, because
Yeah.
I feel like you've said the same thing, but you guys are married.
But we've also seen so many bad things. Like,
Yeah.
yes, Yelp had a bunch of super successful relationships, but it also had way more really tough hookups that, like, then you have to work with them.
Which is funny for everyone else.
Yeah.
But for you, not great.
Not great.
Yeah.
The post office holiday party, the true hangover.
Yeah.
I do think it's
Yeah.
different with salespeople and other job functions as
Yeah.
well. Like to what Cara was saying, our training classes were like 70, 80 people, and most people were under 26. So like, you're teaching them how to communicate. What did you think was going to happen?
Yeah.
So, I mean, it really depends what you do. Maybe it's different for engineers, or you definitely can't, Trav.
Nope.
That's
Nope.
not. That's not.
It's not recommended.
School is not a good place.
I feel like with type A people, and like I said before, Yelp was a very like, you know, go nuts kids kind of thing. And I like, even after I left and she left, like I think that kind of fell off. They were like, okay, we got to hone it back a little bit. But yeah, no, in the beginning it was like you're such a type A person living in New York City. It's like, all right, there's good looking people all around me. There's social, there's booze fun. They had like 8-9% beers on the kegs in the office. So like, you have 2 of those on a Friday, you're like, I'm wasted. Who wants
Who
to make
am
out?
I finding?
Right.
It's
I just closed a deal. There's
Yeah.
free booze everywhere.
exactly.
Let's go.
Well, okay. Is the fact that you guys kind of went into it like actually liking each other, is that why it wasn't a tough hookup versus like other people were like, I'm just here to hook up, and then it's like,
Yeah,
I'm
I
not
think-
actually invested in the
It was
relationship?
easy. I mean, like I took a little bit longer to finish undergrad. So like when I moved here, like a couple weeks in, I turned 25, whereas everybody's like 22, 23. So for me, it's like I had my single fun, and regardless of moving to New York City, like I was like, if a relationship presents itself, like I'm open to it. So
Yeah.
I think it was just
Yeah.
easy because she became fast friends with Jen and our other roommate Lauren. It was kind of like, you know, it didn't feel like you had to work. So
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
very just like quickly, like we're friends too. Like it was just very easy to talk and stuff. and definitely all the mutual friends really helped. I mean, it was
Yeah.
very nice that one of my best friends lived with my boyfriend, so like I had like a built-in closet. It was pretty fun.
Yeah, and I never had to deal with like their dating issues because Cara was always there, and I was like, I'm gonna be in my room. Guys, you had this conversation. Thanks, babe, for taking this one, and the hundreds of others that you will eventually take for me
Yeah.
not having to listen to this.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's one of the things that's always made me happy hanging out with you guys is like y'all feel like best friends at all times. Like I don't know, it's just so easy and smooth. And I'm curious, like, when did you know in the relationship like you wanted to get married? When did you make that choice?
I don't know. I said I love you really fast.
Yeah.
So like I said that in my vows. It was like literally, I don't know, a month and a half or 2 months in. And it's great now, but it's like, don't do that. Like that's not in the New York City dating playbook, is like drop those words super fast.
Yeah, I mean, I
Pretty
feel
quickly.
like it was pretty quick.
Yeah.
I mean, and a lot of it was like unspoken for a while, but I don't know. By like a couple years of dating, I mean, we've been together for 8 years now, but like by probably like 2 years, we were like consciously talking about getting married.
Yeah.
And we were already getting pressure from like our families and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, so what's happening here?
Yeah,
and
I'm
we
a
were
little
just
older
like,
too, so my biological clock was ticking. So, no, we gotta do this.
and we did the New York thing, and we're like, no, we're gonna wait.
Yeah, okay. Going back, you guys mentioned the spark. Like there's the spark, there's the attraction. You see other single people, how they're navigating. What is the spark? Is it actually like that I know instantly, like this person is right, and it's just a matter of they're also interested back, or is it like there's actually like some time that has to be put in before you're like, ooh, I actually really like this person?
I think it's both. I think like I hear like my single friends now, and I think especially when you're like in your 30s and you're single and you like really want to be in a relationship, you're just in a different mindset than like I was at 22. But like I don't think that it's always going to be like this instant thing. I think the instant thing with us was more like the thing that you have with friends. Like anytime you like meet someone and are instantly friends with them, it is kind of quick, you know? Like you can quickly know if like you're going to want to hang out with this person, and you can also quickly know if it's going to be like a best friend, like someone that you like really want to spend a lot of time with. And I think that's more what happens, and then it definitely takes work to like be in a
Yeah.
long relationship.
Yeah. Well, also, because even in the beginning of us dating, and we were exclusive, and it was like I was still going out with friends and staying out till 4 a.m. and like I don't know, you've never really been the person to do that,
Never
but
been.
like it was never like I'm mad at you for doing that. It was kind of like have fun, like I
I
trust
did it
you,
more
enjoy
when
yourself.
I was 22.
Yeah.
You're cool, Cara. You're hip.
Hey guys.
but even today, like I'm still like last night, for instance, like I worked until like 3 in the morning, 3:30, and then like was like, all right, I'm just gonna hang out and have a beer and like go home. So it was like it was very easy for me to be like, all right, I have that person, but I can still also like go out with friends and you know do shrooms at Brooklyn Garage until all hours of the night if I wanted to.
I do think that's an important piece. Like, I was young. Like, I think the fact that he's 3 years older, like, really helped. Like, I think if I had met him 3 years earlier, he would not have been in a place for, like, a long-term
hated me.
relationship.
Fuckboy.
But, like, it's more like just your maturity and, like, knowing that, like, you can be, like, an independent person. Like, you have to know your own shit before you can be in a relationship with someone else successfully, I think.
Yeah, I think the spark for me, going back to your question, was like she was. I could have my fun and everything, but I could also, when we were together, it's like she just puts up with all the dad jokes and like me being relatively immature as well in that sense. So it was just kind of like, yeah, this is like you. I think you like when you know, it's like yeah, like not so much when you know, but it's like, do I think this person could be my person? And when I'm working with them and our friend groups are the same, it's like if we're gonna be together forever,
Yeah.
and we're already together all the time, like do I see any point when like I wouldn't want this anymore? And like that just didn't happen.
Yeah. But it's interesting because it sounds like when you guys talk about the spark, I feel like it gets overblown by other people as like this super epic romantic thing, and
Yeah.
the way you guys described it is like almost like we just get along, and it's like friends.
Yeah, I mean, like, we don't get me wrong, like, we definitely had moments, like, right in the beginning where it was, like, exciting and romantic, and, like, that's great, and, like, I think you definitely need that stuff, but, like, I don't think it would have lasted as long as it's lasted if we didn't just have this backbone of, like, we just like hanging out with each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was it like for you and Dad, Justin? What was the spark? When did you know?
When did I know that we would get married?
Yeah.
So I think it's like I read this book called Dataclysm one time where it was the founder of OkCupid, where he had aggregated all of, like, the dating data from like years, and basically it talks about this idea where you have to, like, there's a number of, like, iterations that you have to go through to figure out what you want, and the most efficient thing is, like, once you figure out what you want, pick the first person that, like, meets all of those things. I didn't know what I wanted, and Di just happened to meet all of those things that I realized were important to me. So, like, I think things for me when I knew were she was good to my family, she was good to my friends, I could go out or I could veg out, and it's the same kind of vibe. It's that person where, like, if you're going to find that partner, you don't know that on a first date. Like, you can't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
I think you have to be, like, you have to have those, like, nights in as well as the nights out to understand, like, can I hang around this person or am I going to, like, lose it?
Yeah.
I feel like there were probably, like, two things, like, going off of what you said that also, like, kind of solidified for us. Like, one, I took him to Penn State before we were even officially dating for this, like, big family football weekend. And it's, like, intense. Like, there's, like, at least 20-some people there that
There's
are
an
in.
itinerary.
Yeah, it's, like, it's a yearly thing. It's, like, it's pretty intense. And I was, like, he's like, I want to go to a Penn State game. I'm like, I mean, you could come, but, like, it's my whole family. Like, it's, like, a lot of people. Like, I don't know. And he's like, no, it's fine, it's fine. And we arrive and I drop him off to play golf with my dad and, like, some of the other people. Like, he's sitting in a golf cart with just my dad, first time meeting him. And then I, like, leave because I don't play golf. and then we just have the rest of the weekend, and he just got along so great with everyone. I mean, you guys know Evan, like, he's so personable. And I think just seeing how much he, like, wanted to be there and, like, how he wanted to, like, really get to know all these important people in my life, like, that was definitely big for me.
Yeah, I mean, looking back, my love for college football definitely outweighed everything. I was like, take me to a Penn State game. That was, like, the running joke. And then she's like, hey, so there's this game. And it's more of, like, an event with our officiant, who was our officiant, and her family. Like, there's golf. I was like, I'm in. Like, no other details. And then they dropped me off, and I sat with her father for 4 hours playing golf. But yeah,
How did you introduce yourself as? Like, you're not official yet, so.
I said, hello, sir. I'm the one that's having sex with your father. No, well, that was the other thing, too. Like, we weren't, there was no, like, literally that weekend, we were in one of, like, the very shitty Penn State bars, and I looked at her and I was like, do you want to do this thing? Like, we made it official. Then when we arrived, it was like, this is my friend, Evan.
He's like, I know exactly what this is.
Yeah, so it was a little awkward because, like, even then when we went to the tailgate and I was, like, meeting some of the other people that come to these weekends every year for the first time, even Bill and Mary were like, this is Cara's friend. And I was like, wow, this is dumb. Let's do this.
Yeah.
Let me see if she's on the same page.
Yeah, but I would say the other thing that probably solidified it early in the beginning is that he got super sick, and I had to take him to urgent care. It was back in 2015. I don't know if you guys remember this, but Legionnaires was like a big thing, and everyone was, like, afraid of it. Like, it was gonna kill the whole city. And he was just, like, so, like, flu-like. Like, he was very, like, shaky, like, fever, and he was at my apartment. I was like, I need to take you somewhere. Like, this is bad. So he, like, has a blanket from my bed around him, and we're getting to a cab, and on the taxi TV, it's like, Legionnaires, like goes through New York City and it gives all the symptoms, and we're just inside.
I had all of them.
Had all
It's
of
like
them.
webbed in your face.
And then it really, we look at each other, we're like, all right, you're dying. Like, it's been real.
Goodbye.
And then it goes to page 2 of the symptoms, and it's like bleeding from the eyes. It's just like, okay.
Maybe you're safe.
Maybe I don't have Legionnaires. Maybe this is just the flu. But yeah, no, it was like, when you get married and you did like the traditional vows, and it's like in sickness and health, it's like, we, very early on, it was all of those instances or like tests to be like, in sickness, like she was there, so I think that was another thing that was like, not only can I see myself, like I enjoy spending time with this person, but when things get rough, when I'm bleeding from the eyes, when like you're sick, like do they want to be around you to help you get better? I think that was a very early indicator that it was like, okay, this makes a ton of sense.
Yeah.
And I feel like, to your point, Trey, that's where it's like the difference between attraction in the first couple of dates and like partnership.
Yeah.
Hopefully you're not going through a test like that in your first date. Like
Yeah.
taking someone to the
You need a
hospital.
little
or
bit of
something. You need a little bit of
time.
warm
You need a
up.
little bit of time.
Probably.
Yeah.
But if you do, it sounds great in the house.
It's a good one to call back.
Like those moments, like, don't say I love you too fast, but
Yeah.
like, if it works out, say that you said that.
But I also think you said it's not in the playbook. What is the playbook? Like, it's what works for y'all two. Like, y'all said I love you because you felt that way.
Yeah.
But to follow a playbook, like, I gotta wait like 3 months before.
Well, it's all the stereotypical stuff like, oh, don't text or call for like 3 days. It's like it's like the things that you see in movies, or like when you talk to single friends that are dating, and it's just like, I don't know. I think when I moved here, I was like, I'm ready for a relationship. I could have fun being single, like, but I'm not subscribing to all those things where it's like, I had a great time. Like, let's do it again tomorrow.
Right.
Like, if they're not open to like receiving a text like that where I seem eager or overly interested, then like that's not your person, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's taken me some time to figure that out. I used to think like me texting someone, hey, you want to go do this? And then they like wouldn't respond or ghost. I would be like, oh, it's the way I like said it or like something. I'm like, no, they're just not interested. There's no like way I could have edited this to make it sound better to where there would have been
I mean,
like.
to be fair, it probably would have been nice if they were like, hey, like, I'm not feeling this.
Yeah.
Like, because like, people suck. It's like you could be like overly communicative, but it's also like, if that's not reciprocated and they're just ghosting you, like that sucks too. So like it's not fair in that sense, but I think like the idea of a dating playbook, especially for this city where you're everybody's trying to make it to the top, and it's like you have to balance all that, but also like, how do I find a relationship and all that?
Yeah.
Well, there's the dating playbook, and then there's the wedding and marriage playbook, which I feel like
Yeah.
there's a lot more rules in my mind that people have and expectations around the actual like events of getting married. And like Cara, you mentioned like how important your family is, how close they are. Like we were in Happy Valley; it's a huge family, it's a huge network.
Yeah.
Like as you and Evan were getting closer to thinking about like actually planning your wedding day, like how much pressure was there from your family? Like was there a type of wedding you always wanted to have? Like what kind of like formed your ideas about a wedding ceremony or getting married in general?
So
How much time you got?
Break it down.
I mean, I don't think there was a ton of pressure. Like we joke, but like we just both have pretty big families, so we had a lot of people that just kept asking us questions. It wasn't anything insane, but I always thought my family was really big. Like my mom has 4 brothers, and then I have this extended family that's like not actually related to me, but it adds a whole another like 20 people. Right. And then my dad's family's a little small, but like I am the youngest of 12 cousins on my mom's side, and all of my cousins are at least 4 years older than me, so I've been to a ton of weddings because of that. So I definitely had that. What?
We kept track of like all the weddings that we had been to
together,
right?
yeah.
And
we've been to a lot of weddings, guys. But I was saying that I thought my family was big because then I met Evan, and then his mom is one of 12.
Oh my
Jeez.
God. Yeah.
Wow.
So then my family was tiny. So yeah, we just had a lot of different people, and I think we're super lucky that we both have families, extended families, that we actually really like.
Yeah.
Like we enjoy spending time with them. Both of us like make it a point to see our extended families as much as we can, even though they are so big. Like, I'm kind of shocked on his side, like how much of their insanely large family like actually likes each other and like wants to get together.
The group that's in Pittsburgh is kind of like a cult.
There's a
They're
lot
a
of
ton
them
of
there.
fun.
Yeah.
Do they make T-shirts like every year when they get together?
Literally.
When we do the
Yeah.
big family reunion,
Yeah.
Yeah, we do the T-shirts.
So like because of that,
the dogs
it
got
was just-
T-shirts. That's the
Yes,
extent
yeah.
with which we are talking.
Wow.
Yeah.
So yeah, like when you say like what did you expect for your wedding, it was probably just because like we've both been to a ton of weddings.
Yeah.
So
But it was more so, it's like, it wasn't so much like expectations that we had to fulfill from what they wanted or what our parents wanted, what relatives wanted. For us, it was like, we've been to a ton of weddings. What did we like? What did we not like? Like, how can we make this the best so that everyone that comes has an incredible time?
What were some of those things? Like, what was your, we absolutely can't have this?
Sarah
This is
like
the
hates
must
the
have.
purple lighting.
Oh.
Yeah.
when the light is just a different color, purple specifically, I just have like some bad memories of. But like especially when you're in like a ballroom situation, which
Yeah.
was also an absolutely no to me. But and then you have like a purple or a blue light, and it makes every single picture look like that. It just feels like cheesy and weird, and I hate it.
Tacky.
It's your wedding ick.
Literally, I hate it.
Yeah. I'd say that's probably the biggest
That was a
thing.
big one. I mean, Evan was always like, I just want like good music, good food, and booze. And I was like, that sounds great. Like if those
Good
three
contributions.
if those three things are like good, then like you're at least gonna have a good time.
Yeah.
But I'm a huge planner. So I love planning events and everything anyways. And so basically the two of us together, even outside of all the family weddings I mentioned before we met, we've been to 20 weddings together at least. So we just knew like the little things that we really liked and really didn't like. We quickly decided we wanted a band because we went to some great weddings with a band, but only if we found a band that we really liked, because it could also go really wrong.
But also, like, in that context, it was like, if the band is bad or the DJ is bad, like, what is drastically worse? And if the DJ is, like, not great, then, like, go band, because you're,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, our band was amazing, but it was also, like, it took us a little while to find them. So it was, like, the little things like that. It was, like, you look at all your experiences at all the weddings you've been to, and it's like late night food, or like the 3 entrees that people can choose from, or the wedding cocktails, like the his and her kind of thing. And look at all that, and like we had a lot of inspiration on like what should we do, or like what route should we take.
Yeah, and I also think basically the way we took it was like when we left a wedding, what were we talking about? Like, if we've left weddings where we were like, that DJ was rough times.
I love a post-wedding recap.
Yes.
Like, you look over your
Yeah.
partner, like, that was awesome, that sucked.
Yeah, yeah.
If you're cool, you're cool.
Yeah.
Fuck
You're
you.
not.
You're cool.
No, really.
Okay. How do you, from the moment you say you get engaged,
Yeah.
and then you're like now in wedding planning mode,
Yeah.
where do you even start? Like, there's all these things you mentioned: food, music, drinks,
So I would
venue.
say start with the day. Like when, like, you know, people. We have friends, like, a handful of friends that like they're like, yeah, we just want a long engagement. For us, we had a date associated with our parents. It was both of their 34th anniversaries on our wedding day. So
Aw.
we were like, oh,
Same day.
when's the next time that this is a Saturday? Okay, cool, July 15th, 2023. So like that, we kind of knew the date for a while, just to like do it in honor of them. But yeah, I would say like start with the date. You know, like I'm perpetually sweaty, so I wasn't thrilled about a midsummer wedding in tuxedos. And like, thank God you can't, in Photoshop for sure, but like, thank God you can't really see the sweat through the dark tuxedo, because it was damp.
It was moist.
It was hot. It was hot.
Is that,
Yeah.
is that what most people do though? They pick the date because then that sort of gives you your constraints of like what venues you could get.
Yeah.
Or do people do like, I want this venue, and then we'll figure out the date?
Yeah, I don't think he really knows what he's talking about, because like
Not even
we
Italian.
chose the date because of our parents. Like that was a very unique situation. I do think people think of a season or a like time of year that they want to get married. That definitely is first.
That's correct.
And then then it's the venue.
I retract my answer.
Yeah.
Evan's like, June 30th, make it happen, venues.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was like honestly like witchcraft that we made that work. But like usually the venue has to choose your date because I mean at this stage right now, I mean especially after COVID, all the weddings got pushed and there was just so like little availability at different venues. So a lot of times it's like choosing your venue first. And then what I did was I just like went online and was like, there's all these things that you can look up of like, what are like the main things you need to do and like the timeline that you need to do them. And it really just comes down to like the big vendors that you want to book so that you don't lose them. So venue is first and then like catering and drinks, like if that comes with your venue. Or if you have to bring that in, photographer, videographer, flowers, like the bigger things that book up fast. Once you have those done, then you're fine and you can like wait.
This sounds expensive.
Yeah.
It is expensive.
Yeah. Was there a point when you were doing all this planning and like starting to write checks that you were just like, fuck it, let's go to a courthouse?
Everyone, yeah. I mean, everyone always says that. I don't know if we really had that because I just like had a budget from the beginning and was like, I'm sticking to this and it's going to be fine. And everyone kept telling me that I was going to get stressed and I was fine. So I think it's a personality thing. Like it definitely is just like, are you a planner or are you not? Like that's in your blood.
Yeah. But then also like we hired a day of planner.
Yeah.
So for Cara, she had like I don't know, by the end, what was your PowerPoint? Like 60 pages?
Okay, so take a step back.
No, not to make a joke, but it's more so like Cara's a planner, so like anytime she thought of something, it was a new slide. And by the time that we had the wedding, it was like 60 pages, and like we could monetize this on like Etsy. But it was impressive to look at. So for us, it was like, okay, we don't need a wedding planner because Cara is our wedding planner, but the day of, like, take that stress off. And I think if we hadn't done that, like when people are like, oh, it's gonna, like, something's gonna break, you're finally gonna freak out. And like if we hadn't had the day of, then maybe it would have happened. But I think
I mean, I think it comes down to a few things, like of if you're gonna get stressed or not, or if you're gonna say, fuck this, let's go to a courthouse. It's like, number one, just like, do you know what you're getting yourself into? Like I had been a part of other weddings. I like knew what I was doing. So I think that helped. And then how's your family? Like, is your family the kind that's going to be like super involved and have their own opinions that they really need met? We are insanely lucky. Both sets of our parents are like, you do you. Like they just don't really care.
I feel like that's rare.
tell us to be
rare.
where and when. And
They're
we'll
both
be
so
there.
chill. It was crazy. I have been a part of weddings where that was not the case, and that is when you want to go to the courthouse. 100%. I don't know, Justin, what about you? Did you guys have a moment like that?
We had a planner, so
Right.
I didn't have a Cara, but we had a planner and said.
Well,
and
Diane knew from the beginning too. Like you have to know yourself. Like, am I good to do this or am I not? And Di was like, no.
Because it's like a year-long project.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Di could have done it. I think her mindset was, I have a busy enough job.
Yeah.
I don't have time to do all this research, but I want to make it good, so I want a planner who is just going to give me options and lets me pick them, or just picks for me based on what I like. So
Yeah.
I think Diane was really good about knowing what she was good at and knowing what she couldn't
What she
do.
wanted, yeah.
And that made it go really smoothly. I will say, too, if you do have those parents, and I'm not saying these were ours by any means, but like if you do have parents that are overbearing, have the planner as a buffer. Right?
Yeah.
Just a objective middle person
Yeah.
who can be there, so be like, hey, take it up with the planner, don't take it up with me.
Yeah. Well, also, I think that's a good question when you're trying to like find that right fit. It's like how strong is your backbone? Because my parents are a lot. In many cases, it's like, can you be our middleman? Okay, great. Like, you're hired.
Yeah. I mean, and I think I've seen weddings, like you just need to have a really good communication between the two of you, where you're like, okay, like this is what we want, and you have like your list of like this is what we want, and these are our non-negotiables.
Yeah.
If our parents want other things outside of this, then like we can give them that. But if they're trying to mess with the things that we want, then you just don't let it happen. You just have, but if you don't have that conversation first, I have seen it gone astray.
How do you get on the same page about budget and money? Maybe you guys didn't have this problem, but for a couple where one person has all these things they want and the other person's like, I don't necessarily want to spend this much together.
Yeah.
How do you do that?
Yeah.
It's hard.
It's
Also,
crazy.
I think what you need to do is, and again, it comes down to whether your fiance is doing a lot of the organization and planning and like writing everything down, or your wedding planner, like pay stuff off over time. You know, the wedding was expensive, but the deposits and the payments and everything, they were very staggered.
Yeah.
So it doesn't feel as bad. It's like, all right, we're gonna pay the band with this paycheck, or we're gonna pay the venue with this paycheck. And I think if you like plan it out, then it just becomes like, oh, it's just an extra expense.
Well, you do have to have it set from the beginning for sure. And like what we did and what I like have recommended to my friends who are planning weddings now, which like 3 of my bridesmaids got engaged within a week of my wedding. So like it's absurd.
They were inspired.
Literally.
Well, we also had like there were like 6 women who couldn't come to the wedding because they were having their children,
Just a lot.
and like they got pregnant, and it was like, you got pregnant around the save the date. Was it us?
Everything was
Best party ever.
But yeah, like what I tell them is like figure out how much you have. Like each of you individually say like, this is how much I want to contribute or how much I can contribute. And then if parents are chipping in, how much each parent is willing to chip in. Like my dad, for example, was like, I don't know. He's like, what? How much are weddings? He was so like, had no idea anything. And like, I would show him like a vendor, like a photographer, and like how much that cost. And he was like, what? It's like, what do you mean? So instead I was like, Dad, like I can't have this conversation with you every time I'm trying to book something. It's so sweet of you that you want to contribute some money.
He's like going into inflation. And he's like, oh, this country's going down.
College cost $2 a semester back in my day.
We bought this house for $400.
Literally. So I was like, Dad, can you just like give me an amount that you're willing to spend, and then I'll take it from there. And like, it's so nice of you for like wanting to contribute. So like, I don't, just tell me. And that made it so much easier. So, and like, I have a friend, for example, that like, she has a lot of things that she really wants in her wedding. Her fiance is like, do whatever you want. Yeah. This is how much I'm willing to spend from my paychecks. And then you choose what you want to do. And so she's just like, cool. If I want to do things that are going to make this more, then it's going to come out of my bank account. And then it is what it is because she wants to do it. So I think that helps if you just have like from each person how much everyone's willing to spend. Yeah. And sometimes it's like you do that and you're like, maybe we should just elope. Like, you know, it just, if you have that conversation first, then you figure it out.
Yeah. So take me to wedding day.
Yeah.
Like, what is the divide in your brain during your wedding day of like, wow, I'm really enjoying this, and like, what a special moment, and like, holy shit, everything's gonna go wrong, and like everything's gonna break, and like, I feel like the day of, even though you have the planner for day of, like, that has to take so much off it. But like, what's your mindset on the wedding day itself?
I mean, 100% you need a planner day of, like a coordinator day of, or else like you can't do it. Yeah. It's just my opinion. Because it would be insane.
Right.
But ours was kind of funny. So it was the middle of July, and there were random like pockets of storms that were happening throughout the weekend. So it would be like sunny and beautiful, and in the next minute, downpouring, but only for like 30 minutes, and then it would stop. So I have a friend whose parents are super religious, Catholic, and before events, they would put rosary beads out on bushes to prevent the rain. And she was like, Cara, I swear by this. It works every time. You have to do it. I was like, say no more. Dad, get some rosary beads. Like, I will do whatever voodoo stuff you want me to do to make sure that it is not raining when I am outside walking down the aisle. So, like, we did stuff like that. I mean, you have to have a rain plan, but, like, honestly, it was just the weather that was stressing me out. Everything else was like, it just comes a point where the day of, you're like, if little things go wrong, then little things go wrong, and it's gonna be fine. The weather is tough, though.
I think both of us are very chill, so it's like if something goes wrong and you like the weather, I can't control the weather.
Right.
Like little things like that, and just like, you know, our venue also had like a backup plan.
Nice.
We did ours outside, but they have an inside. So like we knew if worst case scenario, we'll be fine. Like we'll be dry. So it's like control the controllables, but also like for what you can't control, make sure there's some other alternative for things like weather.
And I do think, like, when you're there, like, when it's happening the day of, you're just, like, happy and it's fun. And if the little things go wrong, then you just really don't care. Like,
Yeah.
it's going to be fine.
Or try not to.
Yeah.
What is your mindset through all this? Are you just like, the booze is here, I'm good?
I mean, I stayed up until 5 a.m. the night before the wedding, so I would say don't do that. But like I got up early, took them bagels and breakfast, and then it's so much easier on the groom side because it's like, all right, we got to be here to put our tuxes on at this time. Meanwhile, they're doing like hair and makeup and
At like 7 a.m.
yeah, exactly.
The boys show
And,
up
like-
at like 1 p.m.
And I told all the grooms, I was like, meet me at the pool. I'm getting bagels, and I'm gonna have like mimosas and Bloody Marys and coffee and like that at 9. And they're already like 2 hours in, and I was like, we're chilling by the pool for like 4 hours. Yeah, no, I mean, I think nerves wise, I was more like leading up to it. We were kind of standing there waiting to like walk down and do the ceremony. I was fairly calm, but like at some point it definitely hits you. But again, that like nerves and everything are just like they're, I don't know, unless you're like a flight risk, there's not really like nerves aren't a detriment to the day. So
Yeah.
I feel like my nerves were more like, oh, I have to. We wrote our own vows, and I had to speak in front of all these people. Like it was more like I was giving a speech that I was like scared of, and I'm just such a crier, like in everything. So I was definitely afraid that I was just gonna be sobbing.
Yeah.
I really held it together though. I'm like pretty impressed with myself.
You crushed it. What were your day of feelings, Justin? How were you and Di?
Di and I were good. So the morning of my wedding day, I woke up.
Congrats.
Yeah, I did.
that one.
Couldn't find my shoes. Left without my shoes from Blake's place. Went to
Yeah.
Whataburger at 6 a.m. Got a patty melt and ate in the drive-through by myself, barefoot, on
Most
my wedding
depressing
day.
wedding.
No, dude, I was like so happy. I'm like, I'm gonna do whatever I want to do this morning because it's my day, and
Yeah.
I wanted a burger at 7 a.m. when I was hungover. So went home, ate 3 more breakfast tacos,
Oh my God.
and then went to sleep. And when I woke up, I was good. I was ready to go. I think the thing that I was nervous about was speaking in front of everyone.
Yeah.
It's not my forte or something that I enjoy doing. But it was just, I think any nerves had nothing to do with actually getting married. If you're still having those day of, I understand. Maybe it's not for you. Maybe it is. My nerves were more about like logistics, making sure someone didn't fall or like making sure like the catering was okay. So I got nervous about like the operations of it all, but the actual getting married part for me was pretty easy, and that was.
What about like, I mean, maybe not getting married, but like the ceremony, like this is happening. Like, does that create nerves?
Yeah, for sure. I think it's the way it was described to me is like your wedding is the one time in your life that you're alive for, where everyone you love is in one room. And so taking that in and looking out and seeing everyone from Di's side, from my side, like family and friends, that was pretty, I wouldn't say it's overwhelming. It's just like you definitely feel it. I was more scared of my voice cracking more than anything.
Your dad just has a huge face of disappointment when
So
that
that
happens.
just sit over there.
I thought you were a man.
Disappointed again.
I got nervous. I got in my head about should I cry, should I not cry, and I landed on crying. And I tried to cry, and tears weren't coming.
You landed on crying. I can't.
I was like, oh, this could look cool. Couldn't do it. I was like, cry, god damn it.
Yeah, I think over the course of the day, because like I dropped off the bagels, but even at that point, it's like, oh, you can't see the bride. So it's like for me, the feeling of uneasiness was like, how's she doing? Like, I can't talk to her. Like, is she okay? Kind of thing. So like that was the biggest thing for me over the course of the day. It was like you said, here's the booze, we're good. Like, yeah, I was drinking the whole time, but it was like, is she okay? I can't do anything if she's not. And like me here, she was surrounded by her bridesmaids and like our moms and everything, and like obviously she was fine, but it was like I took them food. Can I do anything else? But as far as like once the ceremony happens, like, okay, we're doing this. So
Yeah.
everything that we put into the planning, it's either gonna go well or it's not.
Yeah, I don't know if I even like had that feeling of like, oh, all of these people are here until maybe like cocktail hour, because then I just started like interacting with everyone. And I was like, whoa, like everyone's here. But then honestly, I think when it really hit us was we went on this like little mini moon right after. On Sunday, we left and we got in the car and we both were just like, I think we like just started crying in the car. Like we were like,
married.
we were just like overwhelmed with like how many people were there and like.
Yeah.
Just like all the love. It was just a lot.
Does it feel different? Like, does it feel tangible that you're like, wow, we're married now after the day?
People keep asking us this. I think in that car ride, we were like, this is crazy. But it was more that we had that day with all these people there from our lives, from like all these different places in our lives, all at once, was just a wild feeling. And it was just an overwhelming feeling of love. But as far as like our relationship and like being married, I don't think it's that different. I mean, we've been together for 8 years and we've lived together for like most of that. So I just don't think like our lives have really changed. Though I do know, like, I mean, I don't know, Justin, how you and Di feel. Like, you guys were together for less time than us. So I don't know if it felt like a little different whenever you guys got married.
Not that
like,
much less.
yeah. I mean, yeah. well, you got married 2 years before us. So,
What was the question?
like, did you feel different? I don't know.
Oh no, I think you feel. I think we've talked about it in another pod. It's like everything has a little bit more weight than it did the day before the wedding. Like, if Cara gets sick, I bet like you feel like a little bit more now because that's your wife, right? It wasn't like it was just a little bit heavier or like it was a little bit more meaningful. But I think what you're hoping for is it feels exactly the same.
Yeah.
I feel like it would be weird if it was completely different.
Nothing has really changed, but the only way that I've been able to like come up with some like explanation is like when Uncle Ben looks at Peter Parker and he's like, with great power comes great responsibility. That's not a thing. That's not a fucking thing. But like there's a feeling. It's like that, like when the music builds up in the background, it's like, all right, like there's something there, but like you can't see it. It's just kind of there, you know?
Wait, who's Peter Parker?
Yeah, I don't know this
Are
analogy.
you Uncle Ben?
It's like the universe being like, you're fucking married. And then you're like, oh.
You don't believe that with power there's responsibility?
No, I'm saying like now that the power is the marriage and the responsibility is like being a good husband.
Oh my God.
I know Justin feels differently because he needs to build a financial moat around him and his wife.
Yeah.
And that's a new thing in the last year since you got married. There's some responsibility there.
Has the moat been dug at least?
We're digging.
Okay, we're digging.
You're
We have
trenching.
started
No
digging.
trenching.
Last step is to fill with water.
Gold coins. Gold coins.
Gold bullion.
Justin just wants to be Scrooge McDuck and swim in his mountain of
Yeah.
gold coins.
Like a dragon. Okay, so I went to both of y'all's weddings, and they both felt really smooth and great, and I had a blast as like an attendee or a groomsman. Like everything, I think because of the planning, because of day of coordinators, like, you know, it wasn't like, oh, we forgot the food or anything like that.
Can you imagine?
But I'm sure knowing what you know from a planning perspective, like little things go wrong. There's like a fail behind the scenes. A family member says something really dumb at the dinner table that you hear about. Was there anything like that at y'all's weddings, like that a guest wouldn't know about, but like you're debriefing on that car ride home?
I mean, one thing that wasn't planned, but it was kind of cool. So like I mentioned the storms, how we had these like pockets of storms. It was magically so nice the whole day. And then it was like, I don't know, we were supposed to do sunset photos, and our photographer comes up to us. He shows me his phone. He's like, there's not gonna be a sunset. He's like, see that storm? It's just not gonna miss us. Like, I'm sorry, but it's not gonna miss us. And I was like, cool. So he's like, why don't we go take some more pictures now and then come back? So we had to like logistically change a few things, but it was very minor and it was fine. And then it was like, they kept checking in with me, and they were like, it's probably gonna be about 10:30 when the storm hits, and it's gonna be bad. We were like, cool. So we were supposed to have the band there until 11, and then an after party in the tent until 1. But then luckily the like person at the venue who was like the coordinator there came up to me and was like, we have everything set up inside in this like the rain room basically, of like where they do weddings inside if you don't want it out. And they were like, you can do your after party in there, which was so nice of them, because originally they were like, you either get outside or inside. You don't get both. I was like, okay. So they set that up. And then it was like, all we really lost was like about 45 minutes of the band, because they had to like pack up and stuff. And if you looked closely, there was a car parked behind the band because they had to be ready to go as soon as the storm hit, so we didn't cause a fire. Yeah. But like that would have been bad.
Yeah, they were like, we're gonna have a huge electrical issue, and I was like, yeah, of course, like shut it down. Yeah.
So like we just had to wrap it up like, I don't know, like 10:15, and then like I got on the mic and was like, okay, party inside, like everyone go inside. And it ended up being awesome because most people were staying there at the venue. We could all go in and change. Everyone was basically wearing pajamas. And then we all went on the dance floor and just had the after party inside for 2 hours. So like, yeah, that definitely did not go as planned because of this like torrential.
Yeah, people were like, oh, it was such a good move moving it inside with the AC and the bar and the dance. And I was like, yes, it was.
We planned it.
Totally planned that.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I think I have a lot of family who are politically leaning a certain way, and then other friends and family that are the opposite side. So, like, there's always the thought of being like, yeah, drunk uncle is going to say something stupid, but it's like, I don't know, hopefully it's funny.
We didn't hear anything that was like bad.
Nothing. Fortunately, nothing like that happened for us.
Yeah.
Like I said, like it was in the back of my mind that like if these groups of people interact, it could be problematic, but it just didn't.
That's why you just strategically plan your seating chart.
Yeah.
And it's going to be fine. I don't know, Justin, did you have anything?
Bits of drama?
Yeah.
I think there were 2 bits of drama.
I can't remember.
One was one group of friends was a little bit too drunk.
Oh,
I do remember.
It's not great when I start my answer and everyone's like, oh, I remember this. Yeah, one group of friends got a little bit too drunk and tried to fight my very, very nice, quiet other friends. They didn't actually fight. But yeah, that wasn't great. 2, we had a photographer, and we wanted it to be quick and wanted it to be efficient. Our photographer, we wanted a sassy photographer just to keep it moving. He was a little too sassy. We were taking pictures with my dad's side of the family, and my grandparents were there. And my grandma was holding a lemonade or something, whatever drink in her hand, and we were by this the facade of the building, and there's different angles on the building. So she goes to put down her drink, and then she raises her head and bumps her head on the facade, and her head starts bleeding.
Oh.
And the photographer goes, I told you not to do that. And all of a sudden, I get heated. I'm about to fuck up my photographer at his wedding. What the fuck are you saying to me?
You can't be yelling at the elders like
yeah,
that.
he's like, I told you not to do that. I'm like, hold up here.
Yeah.
Step
How
back.
dare you? That was that. Last piece of drama is not really dramatic. I invited my great aunt to the wedding, and she couldn't come, which is totally cool. She sent her her husband to the wedding, and he's
She sent a proxy?
she sent a proxy, and he's 75, 80, so there was just a random man there.
How did I not
And
know
I'm
this? This is incredible.
I put him all the way in the back, but I'm like, dude, have
are
some
you
feel.
here?
Like,
Like, I can't make it, but I'm sending my ambassador.
yeah, he came for a free meal. Like, if you can't go and you're clearly the invitee,
Right.
it's just,
I respected that guy. He's like, I'm gonna do my job well.
you got some short rib for sure.
Yeah.
There we go.
And I like her move of just like the meal's paid for.
Right.
Like you go.
Yeah.
You go
Go
get
get
that.
Go
it.
enjoy yourself.
Well, on that note, and also a little time check. Should we do a little mail time?
Mail time.
A little bit. Let's do it. So, for this week, we had y'all submit. We sent out the prompt. What are some of the craziest wedding stories that you've ever heard? Like, what has been foul at the weddings? What's super dramatic? And we had some really, really good submissions. Obviously, you have your standards like a guest couple getting engaged right before the wedding,
What? People actually do that?
the groom tearing his ACL on the dance floor, having to go to the ER, and then missing the honeymoon.
Oh.
Just your classics.
Your classics.
But we wanted to pick a couple favorites that y'all submitted, throw them out to the group,
I'm pumped
and
for
ask
this.
y'all, like, what the fuck do you do in these situations?
Tore his ACL.
Not over that one.
Piece of advice: stretch.
Pre-wedding stretch.
Oh my god.
So we're going to do some of the wildest submissions we got. Number 1, people having sex on the wedding after party bus next to the groom's parents.
No way.
What the fuck do you do if you're a guest on that bus?
Oh my God.
Hand him a condom.
That's it.
Yeah. What is it? What's
On
how's
the-
it go?
Safe sex is the best
You
sex.
can't beat him, join him.
I guess so.
Yeah.
Okay, if I was sober enough to like know what was happening and not, that would be it. Like you would.
You get out of her.
No, you would. If you were like sober. Okay, I was thinking more. You need to be the buffer, and you could like go to the parents and be like, guys, why don't you come sit up here?
Yeah.
Like you gotta like slyly get the parents away from the situation, or like distract.
I think that's the play. You gotta put the blinders on.
Yeah.
You gotta hide it from them.
Yeah.
Well,
Play
funny
some
enough,
music.
You got to play a good R&B song.
Yeah.
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 You
funny-
got to just set the
Play
mood.
some music, maybe get them to like dance, get them
yeah.
like, let's
You
come
take
up
over
here.
the
Yeah.
ox.
Yeah.
Throw on some Jodeci.
You just ignore the
Just
people
let
having
it
sex.
happen.
Some genuine.
You need to just fully ignore the people that are hooking up.
But also at that point, like, wedding's over. It's the after party. It's not your responsibility anymore.
Yeah.
It is unfortunate that the parents ended up in those seats.
Yeah. So tough.
Was it in the front or the back?
But like, how do we find out? Did the parents know?
Huh?
Like, it's almost like
From what I heard, the parents were literally right.
right. But did they know? Like, because if they're just oblivious, then like whatever.
I mean,
No, that's not it.
I don't know.
I mean,
don't know.
they have to be in some position that would say they're having sex. They can't be like hiding that well.
Which ones?
Which position?
Let me reverse that. What position would be the most discreet?
Yeah, the optimal position for you being in this situation, next to your friend's parents.
Oh my God, I just don't know.
Pile driver.
Justin's like, I know the answer. I'm just gonna say it.
What's number in the Kama Sutra playbook is this position?
Any more thoughts on that one?
That's just.
That is,
Just tough.
that is
just-
unfortunate.
You just don't want
Oh
that.
wait, whoever sent that in, where are they from?
Texas.
Awesome.
Love that.
Do we know them?
No, you don't know them. I know them.
Justin actually sent this in.
Yeah. I'm not even actually reading anything. Okay, number 2. A $3 million wedding got wiped out the day of by a hurricane. Couple was on the hook for the full amount. What the fuck do you do?
Cry.
Kill yourself.
Cry.
Go kill yourself.
What is a $3 million wedding? When I heard this story,
Oh my god.
Do you know where the wedding was?
I think it was on the East Coast in like Bermuda, I want to say. Like a destination
Oh,
island
shit.
wedding
Yeah.
that just got crushed by a hurricane.
Okay, let's be fair though. If you are throwing a $3 million wedding, you have money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Redo it
That's like
another way.
private jet money, like trust funds.
So
Just like
Fuck
fuck
them.
you money.
So it's like just do it again.
Either which, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did, so we did not do this, but I did read when doing research that you can get wedding insurance So like that probably is something to think about. I don't really know all that it covers though. It seemed a little weird.
We used to upsell that at Wedding Spot when I worked there.
You
In
worked
our
at
venue
weddings?
Yeah, in our venue packages.
Love.
Wow.
What did it cover, Trav? What did it cover?
I think it covered like weather in
Really?
particular. Yeah. And then there were some like sickness ones. Like if you got like this was pre-COVID, but if it was like if somebody got injured or sick or there was like international conflict or something. you know,
Wow.
it's like travel insurance. Similarly.
Yeah.
I mean, tactically, I think what you do is you find your best negotiator in your friend group to call all of the vendors and say, what can I get back? And just
Yeah.
try to get back as much as you can. And if you're going to plan it again and like try to do a redo, see what you can get to like go towards the
Yeah.
Credit.
next.
I think that's the right move. Is like see if you can get them for a later date and have the money that you booked them for get
Yeah.
allocated towards that.
I got
I'm
back
sure you can
$2.5
save some of
million,
it.
but it's on this Visa gift card.
I'm sure you could get a good chunk of it, especially if you were just going to do it at the same place.
A lot of people now in COVID, when I was signing wedding contracts, it was like middle of COVID, they started putting in these clauses of, I think it was called like act of God clauses or something like that, where the vendor is not responsible
Yep.
in the event of like an act of God, like a hurricane.
Yeah.
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 Or
Or
locusts.
locust, plague.
Firstborn's getting murdered.
firstborns, yeah. Or COVID. So
No,
Our wedding
I
was
think they
great,
all
but
have
all
that.
the firstborns died. It's really tough.
I do think like almost every vendor has that now. It's like
I
a
mean, it
thing.
makes
sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I do think some of them they'll
Bastards.
still work with you on things. They just have to have that in there because they all got so screwed.
$3 million though. Like what?
What do you do?
Did
Yeah.
everyone like? How do you?
You're eating off solid gold plates.
Like were you
caviar.
paying for everyone's travel?
Travel.
I just
That's
how
my
do you add up to
assumption.
$3 million? Like that would be great. Like don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that, like
we gotta have them on.
it's too much.
We did.
Yeah.
What was like playing that wedding?
Wow.
I mean, if it was destination, that could be it. Like I have heard of people like just covering
Three.
the cost of everyone going. So that would be a chunk.
It's like 500 people for 4 nights or something.
Yeah.
All inclusive. I still don't think it'd be $3 million.
No, that's
I don't know
like-
how you still-
Yeah.
That's like maybe one.
Yeah.
Good for them though.
Maybe they had like Drake perform or something.
Maybe.
Yeah.
There had to
but
have been a
also,
celebrity
but
there.
also, like, do we know what they did?
Oh yeah.
I think they were on the hook. I don't actually know what
Yeah.
happened, but
Can we
It's
get a-
like
can we get a
that's
need a
follow-up?
follow-up.
that's the circumstance for sure. But it's like, what did they do?
Yeah.
I'm not sure. We will get a follow up on that one. And I want to turn it over to y'all for y'all's craziest wedding stories that you've seen. But the last one we got, and certainly not least, this marriage. What the fuck do you do when the bride leaves the groom 1 month later for the best man?
You turn it into a TV movie.
I want to go to one of those weddings so bad, where like people like are just like, where'd the groom go or where'd the bride go?
That's after the fact. That's not as fun.
I want to go to that wedding.
I know a friend who's been at a wedding like that where someone actually ran out the day.
Like Runaway Bride?
Yeah, and he had to give the announcement like this wedding is not happening.
Oh, but the open bar is still going. So
But
have fun.
the groom ended up finding love later with one of the bridesmaids, and then they basically had the same people there. And so my friend was like, "Well, we're all here again, and hopefully this will go well this time."
Seems like a Jennifer Lopez movie.
It like is. Yeah, it's a movie.
It's crazy that people do that. Going back to this scenario, though, I think this groom who got ditched for the best man, I think he has grounds for murder.
Go on.
Not what I thought was gonna be said.
That's your best friend
So
Yeah.
what I heard.
stealing your girl.
Yeah,
That's
what I
crazy.
heard
The love of your
about
life.
this wedding, it actually happened at my venue. So bad omen.
Hot venue for that though.
Great, nice venue
Did you get a
for
discount?
Emotions
nice,
running wild.
Nice venue for a cucking. No. So what I heard that the groom's dad and the best man's dad were business partners, and this could all be hearsay. I heard they were all business partners. The best man was like having an affair with the bride, and then
Before the wedding.
And then I think
So this
Oh,
was
the
this
dad's
was
business
an arranged best man situation.
I believe the dad, like the business partner, was the officiant of the wedding,
Oh my
and I
god.
believe that everything was just blown up. after that.
Yeah, I
Clean break. Start
That's
over.
brutal.
And this could be hearsay. This is just what I heard, but yeah.
Yeah.
well, thank y'all so much for joining. This has honestly been a great episode.
So fun.
Everybody out there, follow us on Spotify, TikTok, Instagram. You know it. Peace.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks. Yay.